The I Am RAPAPORT podcast is sponsored by Greats Sneakers, Greats Footwear, totally unique, low-key sneakers, made in Brooklyn, New York, Greats.com. You go to Greats.com, you get 20% off if you put in the promo code RAP, R-A-P, that's RAP. I am known for my discomfort in my feet. I am known for my tender feet. I wear my Greats, I feel good, and I look good. But more importantly, I feel good. Greats.com, go to Greats.com, put in the promo code RAP, you get 20% off your purchase. It's the I Am RAPAPORT podcast. So I think collectively, I would love to give it up for Raging Bull.
Yes.
And the Crest Theater, thanks for hosting us. Sincerely, what a beautiful movie theater in this day and age of, watching movies on Apple TV and computers and phones. So what a beautiful movie theater. It feels very traditional and especially for a movie like this, which I didn't tell the people who had never seen the movie before that it was in black and white. But as you could tell, it was in black and white. So I can't wait to see, what some of you guys have to say about the movie. I know that G. Monetti.
Yes.
If you haven't, so I know there's more people here. We're going to give the impression to the podcasting audience across the globe that there's 765 people in here. But there's really only 324. But we're going to make it sound like it's 760 something. So we're going to be extra loud and shit. So the podcasting community out there is like, fuck, man, that sounded like a cool night at the Crest with Rapaport and Raging Bull. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Shit.
Should have been here.
So thank you guys. Calm down. Security. The fucking Rap-A-Pack is in the building. So when was the last time you saw that movie?
2 years ago.
And what's your impression? Because me and Gerald, and the interesting thing was watching with the audience is the dilapidation, I said dilapidation, of laughter throughout the movie. Because like I said, if you've seen the movie, or maybe if you haven't seen the movie, the tension is so palpable that it makes it humorous. De Niro's tension is so, until he starts, with the physical shit. But when it's just the accusatory thing, it's funny, and then it's over the line, and then it's, guerrilla show.
I want to ask you.
Yes.
Why this movie? What does this movie do for you?
It's a good question, G. Monetti. See, that's why G. Monetti won 2015 Podcast Co-Host of the Year. I mean, that's why you're the fucking Black Ed McMahon, and I'm actually, I don't know if you know this, I'm the white Arsenio Hall.
Mm-hmm. That's how we get down.
Miles, make sure when we're mixing this, that those laughs sound big for the motherfuckers, and feel it's old, canned laugh, from the sitcoms of the 70s, just fake that shit, Welcome Back Kotter style laughs, vibrant, canny, tinny laughs. For me, this film, when I watch it, and I've watched it so many times, for me, to answer your question, it is perfection, and it's artists who are working on all cylinders, and it's craft with determination, with charisma, all coming together. And when I say charisma, it's there's a charisma to even Jake LaMotta, there's a charisma to, when he's approaching Vicky in the beginning of the movie, before he goes dark, he's charismatic. There's a charisma to the style of the film. There's a charisma and there's a taste.
Right.
You see Martin Scorsese's taste. The taste in music, the taste in cinematography, the taste in clothing, everything is the car, everything that's all Martin Scorsese's imagination and Robert De Niro's imagination. And I just think for me, it's whoever your favorite artist or athlete or singer is, it's those guys. It's Jordan in slow motion on his very best day. Like this is what this movie is to me. So that saying, did I fuck a word up again, Paul? What word did I say wrong? Jordan on his best day, and because it's a movie, you could watch it again, and you're like, God, look at this shit. I mean, because the camera work, the sound, everything about the movie's perfection. So it's, like I said before the film started, I forewarned the people, like, this isn't Cinderella.
Right.
It's not an easy movie to absorb. It's not even as easy as Goodfellas to absorb, and Goodfellas is not an easy movie to absorb. But this makes Goodfellas feel like PG-13. Like, this is fucking dark.
Right.
And you're seeing a guy's, like, just the pain and the desperation and, you know, just the at the bottom. And then there's a tiny bit of, you know, redemption at the end. Tiny. And, you know, and I just, like, you know, the influence of this movie is all over Boogie Nights. It's all over David O. Russell's work. It's all over, you know, Mo Better Blues and Jungle Fever and Spike Lee's work. I mean, the framing of the last scene when De Niro is in the mirror as fat Jake LaMotta doing Marlon Brando is the exact same framing that was at the last scene in Boogie Nights when Mark Wahlberg took out his loaf.
All loaves matter.
All loaves do matter. You guys know the I Am Rapaport podcast. All loaves really do matter.
That's right.
All loaves matter.
Word.
So that's why I chose Raging Bull. I wanted to bring up a good friend of mine who's actually just got to work with Martin Scorsese. I've never gotten to work with Martin Scorsese. And since I tried so hard to get him to do this podcast, I think like I went into like Rupert Pupkinville to him. He's like, yo, this guy's fucking crazy. Like, how many times did Michael Rapaport call today? To do what? I mean, imagine the conversation, Martin Scorsese, his assistant son, there's a podcast, like Martin Scorsese has no idea what a fucking podcast is. And I'm like, it's the I Am Rapaport podcast. You gotta talk to me, Martin Scorsese. The lady calls me back, his assistant, or like probably the assistant to the assistant. I'm like at the third tier of anybody like who's dealing with Martin Scorsese. And I'm like, listen, it's the 35th anniversary of Raging Bull. And the assistant goes, even Marty didn't know that. It's like, motherfucker, well, okay, well, I just want him for 5 minutes because I wanted to use reverse psychology on him because I know if I said 5 minutes to Martin Scorsese, that's like 49 minutes because, you know, he won't stop talking. But that's Martin Scorsese humor. Am I right, Paul? He's a talker, right? Paul? Hey, yeah. All right, so my friend who I worked with on True Romance, did we meet on True Romance? Paul? Yes. We did? I love it when my actor friends get shy. So my friend Paul Ben-Victor, who's coming out in the show Vinyl, who I didn't tell you that you were going to come to the screening and then come on stage because I could tell like you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like I thought you had special guests, motherfucker.
And you.
Yeah, and you. So Paul Ben-Victor, come up here. I want to pick your brain about Martin Scorsese. Yeah. All right. So sit here, Paul. So Paul Ben-Victor, so you're like, when I was over there, you're like, Paul Ben-Victor, like, who the fuck is that? And now you see him, he's like one of those guys like, that fucking guy. Right? He's like a that fucking guy actor, which is nothing wrong with being that fucking guy actor. Right?
It's a good guy. It's a good guy to be.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. How many movies have you been in, Paul Ben-Victor? Literally, seriously.
I don't know.
No, because I get asked that question. You've been in a lot of fucking movies. We met in True Romance.
We met in True Romance. All right, you want to know our history, our resume?
Yes.
Right, you go.
No, you go.
Well, True Romance, then I did your little short called Bald Spot.
Trouble Spot. I produced that.
It's about bald guys. It was the first one he called. Paul, don't feel bad, but you're going to be in this.
Stay on topic, Paul.
Trouble Spot.
Yes.
And then we did Metro.
Fuck, that's right.
And in Metro,
with Eddie Murphy. And Thomas Carter. Thomas Carter is a director who started as an actor on the show The White Shadow. Mm-hmm. Haywood. And then while we were making the movie, when I was frustrated with Haywood, I was always like, can Coolidge come and direct? Only the people that know The White Shadow can appreciate that joke, but Thank you. We'll amp up that.
You were great in Metro, by the way.
That was Eddie Murphy.
You were good.
What was your impression of working with Eddie Murphy before we get to Scorsese?
Well, I got a whole night that we did when I came after him with a knife. Paul, that's a real knife. Paul's gonna use a real knife. Marty, Eddie, it's not a real knife. It's not a real knife. This
was before the clumps came out. This was that mid-range time for Eddie. But out of all the people I've ever worked with, the most talented person by far, just on like talent, just speaking to him, listening to him talk. We would do lines from Raging Bull. He would do the whole. Imagine watching Eddie Murphy do Pesci, De Niro, and Vicky. Like he would do the whole fucking thing.
Speaking of which, Vicky was unbelievable.
Kathy Moriarty.
She was
great.
Tonight I saw her in a different light because I was just watching. I mean, talk about subtle, and as an actor, you know, we want to do very little. You try to do little. She was like beyond Brando. She was just so subtle and
so beautiful,
quiet and intense and beautiful and
young.
Oh, what's her first thing? He plucked
First
her.
thing, yeah.
Right.
She had never done anything.
And then
she was like the Kim Kardashian of Raging Bull.
With a bump.
Boom, right off the fucking top. It's just boom. Whenever things go wrong, just fucking
get them.
The fucking Kardashian.
And then doing Metro, I said to you, I'm going to do a play in New York. You want to do it?
Right.
You said, are you fucking doing it? I said, I'm doing it. Then I want to fucking do it. I said, all right. Where's the script? I'll send you the script. Send me the fucking script. Maybe I'll do it. you did that.
I was that combative even when I wasn't being combative?
I'm being a little intense. You were much more loving.
Thank you.
You did do those words.
But we did the play.
Then we went to New York and we did a play by Lyle Kessler called Robbers, who wrote a play called Orphans that was on Broadway last year with Alec Baldwin. And
that was the whole Shia LaBeouf, Alec Baldwin beef play.
If anybody knows.
It's like, I heard of that, but I didn't go to the fucking play.
I'm doing his play, a new play.
They got a part in there for me?
At the studio. It's all.
We made so much magic, we got canceled after a week. Was it a week?
2 weeks.
We did a play where I was naked.
Got naked?
Getting out of the bed, and my goal every night, and then I put my underwear on, and my biggest fear was to, like, you know when you put your underwear on and you trip?
We showed your ass, right?
I showed my ass, but I was like, I just didn't want to trip naked. Like it would be, you know, that like your stomach, it's bad enough to do that in real life when you're putting on your underwear, but in a theater with way more people than this, it's fucking horrible, because it screws up the momentum of the play. Like, people would be like, oh, shit.
And we had a night where we cracked up laughing on stage. You made me laugh.
I remember that. Because it's almost like tonight, there was a woman in the front row who was sleeping.
Oh, that's what it was.
We were doing a matinee. Imagine you come out at a matinee. I've never done a play. I think it's like, you know, like the Prince of the City has come back to New York to do the play. And we go out, do the fucking lines right in the front row, and it's a matinee. And I'm like, I just couldn't imagine. There was an old lady sleeping. And the play just started. Like, I didn't even get a chance to bore her.
So I have my first entrance, and I come on from off stage, and I'm playing this Puerto Rican guy. I go, let's do lines. Remember?
Well, you knew things were bad when Paul Ben Victor was playing the Puerto Rican guy. That's when we were fucked.
I'm Vince. Remember we know the lines?
I don't remember my lines.
We used to run lines. Ready? I'm Vince. People call me Vinny. It's an Italian name, but I'm Puerto Rican. This is how it is.
See, I don't remember I remember the...
Well, what happened was, I get on stage, and he's hiding half behind like a pillar, and he's going like this.
Literally 300-something people in the theater.
And he's like...
And the lady, who it looked like my fucking grandma, is asleep in the front row.
And he starts laughing. But you're holding it in. It's that second grade in front of the teacher laughing. And I lost it. You were like... You know, I got on stage, you were all fucking holding it in, and I saw you laughing, and I just went, I'm Vince. I ran
and you
off
had a whole
stage.
monologue, you just left.
I left in the middle of the scene, I left.
I never saw that before.
No, toward the end of the scene, I left. And then there was a scene change, and it all fucked up.
I haven't been invited back to do a play since that night.
You were very good.
All right, so vinyl. You're doing vinyl with Martin Scorsese, HBO.
Oh, and then we did Shoot 'Em Romeo.
Which one?
My movie.
Oh, right.
Didn't come out, but might.
What other things?
I'm just saying, there was a lot.
A lot of meals, a lot of dinners.
A lot of
All right,
sushi.
so tell me, so I asked you this, when you were working with Martin Scorsese, after being a fan for that many years, articulate what that experience is like? What was the good, like how?
I'm a big fan, but when I told him I was working, he goes, all right, man, you got to have a question and like a follow-up question, and I want to know what he wears. I want to know his belt size. I want to know like what he smells like. He went fucking nuts.
I know.
What his shoelaces?
I don't want to put this in the podcast. I'm already on third tier.
Okay, well, there's an editor, right?
No, I'm just fucking with you. No, I wanted to know everything. I wanted to know, because, the thing about Martin Scorsese, like, he's one of the country's great artists. So imagine Pablo Picasso was still around making paintings, and you were there holding the fucking purple, blue, and yellow that day. That's what it's like.
He's got good analogy.
It's literally like, if Van Gogh or Jimi Hendrix was making another record, you'd be like, he's
like a backup singer.
No, you're in the shit. You're in the painting. Everything that's like what he's doing. He's like Sistine Chapeling that shit. Yeah. So
Which
I wanted
is beautiful,
to know.
because when you see it in this movie, you say like a painter.
That's an
you
artist.
watch these frames and the timing and it's like a magic act. I was thinking about what you were saying about it.
When you're watching this film, right?
It's so magnificent. There's the people standing there and waiting, and like you said, the tension and it's just so beyond real, like. And let me ask you, you would know, is some of this stuff improvisational, or was it all
from what
rehearsed?
I don't think a lot of it was improv on the set, from what I know.
During rehearsal. And
stuff like that. I know, like, the one scene, like, if you win, you win. If you lose, a particularly tedious, that was kind of figured out on the day. But I think a lot of it was, they had been working on this movie for 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
And this is when they're like, the fact that they were able to start, the crazy thing is, like, when you see De Niro in jail, the fat De Niro, the fat Jake LaMotta in jail, and you're like, holy shit, this is not a fat suit. Like, this is Jake LaMotta, 60 pounds overweight. Yeah. Like, the fact that they were able to do a movie at that time, he gets in shape to box. They shut down production for 6 months.
So he could
gain weight and then come back and finish the movie. That's like an art project. You could never do that now. You could never, they probably couldn't even do that. Only they could do that, because, like, look what the outcome of this was. But, like, I mean, there's just so much texture and layers to and the sound. Forget the music, the score, which is beautiful, and forget the source music, like the Benny Goodman, all the sound they use for the punches and the sound they use for the violence within the house and the trembling, and it's just a fucking masterpiece.
It is.
It really is a masterpiece.
Perfection, like you said.
Why there's only 375 people at the 35th anniversary screening of Westwood is beyond me.
I thought it was 666. I counted a lot more.
It's more. It looks more, but it's really only like 396 people.
I had standing room only in the back there.
That's definitely standing room only. And and the firemen came to shut it down, but they're enthralled, so they're letting us keep it going, because they're just. My father, if he knew that I said dilapidated and enthralled in one evening in front of, he would fucking probably drop dead. He's like, what the fuck? The fact that, anyway, so give me the Scorsese shit. How did you feel? What was that like? What do we got? We're not promoting Vinyl, but he's an HBO show that he directed, he's producing with Mick Jagger. Mm-hmm. And so what was your impression of your days with Martin Scorsese?
Well, you're in the King's Palace, and he's like this. There's like 40,000 little interns, like literally. There's like 20 every step you take. Marty's coming down the street. Marty's getting out of the car. He's getting out of the car. Marty's not coming in. He's got a cough. He'll be 15 minutes late. He'll be 15 minutes late. Marty. Every 2 seconds, you're hearing like 9 people whispering on these little things. Marty's he's not feeling very good today. He's going to be in about 15 minutes late. He's been 33 minutes late now. I mean, every inch. And then, so everybody wants to please him, But then he gets there. I mean, the first day, I got really nervous because I got out of the cab and they said, Paul's getting out of the cab because he's walking to the front store. There's 9,000 little kids because they all want to work on the show, He's getting into the elevator. I'm going up the elevator. A new person out of the right this way, There was 5 PAs before I got to the rehearsal.
Just for you?
Just getting out of in a beautiful hotel, and it's catered. This is for rehearsal. Shit. I get into the rehearsal space, And behind the door, I'm hearing this guffawing laughter, like I'm in this little waiting room, and they're in like a little breakfast, hall. And he's laughing his fucking ass off. I said, who is it making him laugh like that? But he just laughs. He loves being on the set. He works through the night. He does tons of takes. I really think he's happiest on set. I don't think he likes...
You feel his exuberance. You feel his passion.
Yeah, he just loves being there. How many years has he been doing this? He just gives little tiny perfection notes, He gave me a note when he said, Paul, try to get in... Take a little pause right before that line, and I did, and something happened, but I wasn't getting it. He gave me, I did like 5-6 takes.
Did you start to feel a little like warm
like
and
a piece
hot?
of shit?
Like, oh shit.
Like I'm getting fired. I'm gonna get replaced. I'm gonna, But I finally did something he liked because he was in the back, and I heard him laughing loud. So.
How's everybody feeling? I like that. Yo, all the people that support the podcast, our guy Mike Morris, the shit that I act like this is part of like, but I mean, I guess everybody's living in it. They make some of the great art and the stuff with the podcast. Some of those people are here, and we truly appreciate it. I love doing the I Am Rapaport podcast. It's so much fun.
Absolutely.
Bravo.
It's fun shit.
You got a wonderful TV director, Dave Rodriguez, is here tonight.
Absolutely. And my sister's here, Claudia.
Claudia's here?
Claudia.
What's going on?
I got my man Toby Morse.
In the house.
And who just saw Raging Bull for the first time tonight? Like, I would love to hear somebody, if anybody have a question or a thought or an idea or a concept or how, because for me, while watching that movie, I forgot to say Dean, my man Dean Collins.
Yeah, DC.
Who played my son and looks like my son, but is not my son. That's my fucking guy right there. Huh? No, I know everyone's here, but I mean, you want to start some shit, Dean? See, people know, they know. So does anybody have any, like, the people that never saw the film before, ask a question. Paul will answer your question.
By all means. How many people listen to your podcast?
The most that have ever listened to it, I think it's like 100-something thousand a week, man.
Are you
it's fucking
serious?
Crazy, right?
Yeah. About it.
Like 150,000 is the most. I mean, the podcast world, this is what I've learned about the podcast world in the last year. A guy like Bill Simmons or a guy like Adam Carolla or a guy like Mark Maron, the biggest of the biggest, 4 million fucking people will listen to those guys. Wow. And it's deserving. So it's just like, who would have ever thought that podcasting would be a forum?
Like a radio station.
Like a radio station. 4 million people. That's a lot of fucking people.
More than a lot of radio stations that get 200,000-300,000.
In this day and age. So, I mean, the podcast started, myself, and I was enjoying talking into a microphone alone, but it's kind of claustrophobic. It's just like, you're by yourself, literally in a room, like with my dog, and the dog's like, tripping out because I'm like, and he's like, like looking. And then I was like, yo, Gerald, you got to come on the podcast with me because we've been talking shit. And I find Gerald to be one of the top 3 people in terms of funniness that I know that will consistently have me under a table.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, no problem. But, I mean, you're killing tonight, so everybody could totally understand why I thought that.
Yes, that's
you're
right.
fucking tearing it up, man. You're just helping me and holding it down. And my voice doesn't hurt. It's fine. I'll talk for an hour and a half. It's fucking cool, G.
You're good at it.
No, it's fine. But I was like, yo, G, come on the podcast. We'll talk about whatever. And this fucking guy was like a pig in shit,
Yeah.
Just like he is tonight, just destroying. No. But he's had many strokes of true brilliance during the podcast, and I'm always just like, my man G Monetti.
Doing it Moody. Up, big time.
And then the fans anointed him the Black Ed McMahon, and then of course they anointed me the Gringo Mandingo. I mean, it's just been on and on.
Yeah.
And now, most recently, towards the end of 2015, we've actually been, for going to 2016, they're calling us the interracial Abbott and Costello. It's just things are fucking just...
This gets better and better.
It's just better and better.
Steamroller.
Casper Mattress is an award-winning mattress company that makes the most ridiculously relaxing, supportive mattresses sold directly to the consumers. Trust me, I sleep on one every night. The Casper mattress is available in 6 sizes and has a 10-year full warranty. 10 fucking years. It's made and stitched right here in the United States. Free 2 to 5 day shipping in the United States and Canada. And in New York City, you could get it the day of. Go to Casper.com and save $50 using the promo code Rapaport. R-A-P-A-P-O-R-T. Casper mattresses. We love them. Do you know that that's the first big film that Joe Pesci was in? Did some people not know that going in tonight? How crazy is that is his first performance? There was a small sort of independent, barely seen movie that he was in before that, and then you're starring opposite Robert De Niro and Martin Scorsese in that part.
Getting an Academy Award nomination.
Academy out of the box.
He was nominated for that role, yeah.
Of course.
He deserved it.
It's the I Am RAPAPORT stereo podcast coming live and direct. I want to take questions. Toby Morse, come up to the mic or speak this, just so the people at home, because again, those who are missing out on this night, it's a fucking packed house. So Toby Morse, lead singer of H2O.
Yeah.
Good friend of the I Am RAPAPORT podcast. More than that, one of the most genuinely good and positive people that you'll ever meet. So Toby Morse, that's for real. Like, I mean...
He's that dude.
Well, my question's not about this movie. You know what the question's going to be about.
All right, let me just preface this. Toby is the absolute biggest True Romance fan. Oh. And his wife, Toby and his wife, are the absolute biggest True Romance fan. And sometimes they think like they're fucking Clarence in Alabama and I'm actually Dick Ritchie. It gets so fucking weird. I'm like, yo, my man, I'm not Dick Ritchie. You're not fucking Clarence. But if you were doing a screening at the Crest Theater, you would definitely True Romance that's his movie. All right, so ask Paul the question.
Well, it's for both of you guys.
Okay.
So, True Romance was James Gandolfini's first movie ever. Correct?
Yes. I believe, or he might have had a tiny part in something else, but I mean, it was his first part. But it might have been his first part ever. There was a film... I might be speaking out of turn, but it was either a film that he did right after True Romance or right before True Romance, but it was certainly his first substantial part in a big movie.
Do you guys have any memories of working with him on that movie?
Did you work with him? Did you come across him?
Well,
that's a good question, Toby.
Yeah, because I was part. I'm in the one big scene with Walken and Hopper.
Right.
Yes.
And he cuts.
Yo, you're in one of the most iconic fucking scenes.
I'm Luca.
Eggplant scene.
I'm Luca. I'm the wop behind the couch.
Right.
So
I forget that shit, that you're in that scene.
I was in it.
And Gandolfini was in it.
Gandolfini,
I'll tell you what my memory of him is that number one, he and I say this, I mean, in the most loving, endearing way, he had a goon-like quality. He was big shoulders, and at the time, thin, big shoulders, big hands, and very quiet. So when you like that set was such being on that set, I know that I would show up when it wasn't, I was there the day when you did the stuff in the trailer, because everybody knew the scene in the trailer was gonna be the fucking scene. So I showed up to the set that day, and you were on a set. In the trailer, it wasn't a real set.
Right.
It wasn't shot on location, it was a set.
Right.
And I just remember talking to Gandolfini. I got to know him a little bit more in a film we did after, like talking to him about that experience. Quiet, low-key, and always was so worried about what he did. And the last time I saw Gandolfini, he told me he never saw True Romance. That bugged me out. He was like, I don't see a lot of my shit. And I was like, damn. And I heard, I sort of got to that point where I don't see my shit, but that's just because of the quality of my shit. I'm kidding. I'm fucking kidding. It's just too easy. I mean,
Don't get violent.
fucking the improv's down the street, the comedy stores up. I should just go there. Boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom. Just get them.
You killing, man.
It's just not even, it's too easy. That's why I retired from comedy in the first place. It's too fucking easy. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm fucking kidding. Fill in the laugh, Miles. I'm talking to Miles, my sound guy. He's Asian. His name's Miles Davis. Give it up for Miles Davis.
Yeah, Miles.
The only Asian sound guy in California. It's unbelievable. One week Miles, are you Chinese?
Japanese.
But you're half something, half something.
Half Japanese.
And what's the other half?
White.
Right. Okay. All right. It doesn't sound as good, Miles Davis, my white sound guy. It's just, I get a laugh because sometimes they say Miles Davis, my Chinese sound guy, and then you're like, I'm not Chinese, I'm half Japanese. I'm like, what? Last time you told me you were fucking Persian? I don't know. You're half. All right, that's on the record now. All right, so that was my thing with Gandolfini. He was always he was neurotic, but quietly neurotic and like a goon, like a big, but a sweetheart.
Sweetheart.
So I had those couple of days with him, working with him on True Romance, watching him. I was there the day he beat up Patricia Arquette in character. And that was an intense day. And what do you remember? I mean, just specifically about Gandolfini, and what do you remember about being in one of the most iconic scenes in film of the last 30 years? And you could really say that. Like, yo, that's a scene, like you say the Christopher Walken, Dennis Hopper scene, people know what the fuck you're talking about.
It's an important scene. I get little notices all the time. Hey, would you sign off because they want to use it for some lecture at some school, it's being used for theater classes and stuff. So, or get a residual for it for $400 because it was used in some college somewhere or some symposium.
I never got asked about any of my Dick Ritchie shit. Ever. So there's money in that shit?
You didn't get all, yeah.
No, no, you're talking about side money.
Maybe I had a little Russian thing under the table. But because I played Luca, the Italian cousin who doesn't speak English, so I kind of just, not consciously, but I was walking around not really listening, not understanding anybody because I didn't speak. So I was walking around, people were talking stuff, and I was like, kind of half, not deaf, but I'm making like I'm in a foreign country. I don't understand what anybody's saying.
Since the #1 True Romance fan is asking you this question, do you regret that approach to that time in your life, in your career? That sort of methodical acting? And did you, because I mean, I would have been soaking that up and fucking, I would have been doing about like a little side, I would have been doing the lecture circuit and whoring myself out doing podcasts and stuff like that.
You should do that.
No, I'm just playing.
But
What do you remember about the walking Hopper, like the banter back and forth?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I'm telling you, I was sitting there going, I don't know what's going on. because I'm not understanding.
Right.
So I was just standing there going, like, just waiting for somebody to tell me to shoot something, whatever. But then he tells me to go outside. So I wasn't in the scene for a third of it or however long, and then I come back in. Because he says, tell Luca to go outside and do you know what.
Right.
Which people ask me, I don't know what the fuck he was asking me to do. You know what, I don't know. Go look around. That's what I thought he was saying. But it was, and I always thought, and I didn't know where I was. See, you'd been doing movies a lot more before. That was like
not much. I'd done like 2 or 3 before that, and then that was that. But that was like the shit, though.
Yeah, but I didn't know that. I showed up and I was like...
Well, you just think that the fucking script with Quentin Tarantino and Christopher Walken, like it was just another day...
No, he wasn't a big star yet.
But you knew. Like,
he had done Reservoir Dogs.
He had done Reservoir Dogs, Natural Born Killers had been shot.
Right.
It was Tony Scott. Mm-hmm. And I mean, for me, it was like... I couldn't even believe I was in a room that Val Kilmer and Christopher Walken were even... Like, I couldn't believe I was there, like, just for the audition.
Wow.
I was like, oh, shit, they're going to be in this movie? Mm. I was tripping the fuck out. I mean, that was crazy.
I didn't know any of that because I had a little meeting with. First, I went in and read for Gandolfini's part.
Oh wow!
And I memorized that whole fucking scene. Not that I was going to get it, but that's the scene they gave me. It was 2 pages, and I remember one of those scenes where he had a long monologue.
Right.
I fucking memorized it, And then I get called literally a month later out of nowhere. Tony Scott wants to meet with you. And he says, hi, you speak any Italian, mate? You know, whatever like that. Australian guy, right? Rest in peace.
Of course.
And then I had just done a pilot where I had to say a few things in Sicilian, you know. Whatever I was saying, I forgot what I said. And then he said, great, we'll call you Luca. And he just named me right there and then. And basically offered it to me in the room. That was cool.
That is cool.
He goes, great,
Very
you'll be
cool.
good in this. You know, we'll call you Luca. We'll call you, you know, he came up with it. And I was like, and I still didn't know, because it wasn't a big part. And I thought, oh, this is cool. I wasn't that excited until 10 years later when everybody
Right.
said this fucking movie is iconic.
Still talking about it.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I was into it, but I was, again, walking around like very new, very green. I hadn't done, you know, probably 5 other little smaller parts, so.
It was a special set to be on. I remember, like,
You had done Zebrahead. You had done some big.
I did
substantial shit
Zebrahead, but
in
it was like Zebrahead with me and actors who'd never done shit. So it wasn't like, oh shit, there's
Good.
the fucking guy who's playing my, you know. It was a different level of excitement because it was like, oh
But you
shit.
were also more of a student, and you knew who the players were.
Yeah, yeah. It was, but even like Michael Beach, I was like, yo, that's Michael Beach. Like I knew Michael Beach was in that. Everybody was in that movie. Even Sam Jackson. I remember, I was like, why the fuck is Sam Jackson doing 5 lines in the? And I remember being, I was in the makeup trailer, and Gary Oldman, who was playing Drexel, was asking me, because he heard, at the time I was, if you think I speak English poorly now, like this is like 94, I sounded like shit. I was like, yo, yo, yo. I don't speak like that anymore, I've matured. Yo, 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 motherfucking shit, yo, fucking true romance and shit. Motherfucking playing Dick Ritchie and shit. You know how many motherfuckers I beat out for this part and shit? Fuck them motherfuckers. This is in my head, my inner dot. I'm walking around like this. But then I walk into the trailer and Gary Oldman was there. And he was like, when he was Gary Oldman, not that he's not Gary Oldman now, but like this was like he was in his fucking prime.
Yeah.
And he was there, and I was just like, oh, I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. It was just a fun time, a fun movie. And, you know, met Chris Penn, met Tom Sizemore, met Tony Scott. You know, everybody. It was just an exciting time. I mean, if that would have been talk about an Instagrammable movie set to be on, like if you had a fucking, like if you could like, yo, look at me in my picture with like, you know, there's James Gandolfini. Yo, this motherfucker's sick. I'm in the fucking car with Christian Slater and Patricia Arquette. What up, motherfucker? True romance. #. But you didn't know. American Giant sponsors the I Am Rapaport podcast. Go to American-Giant.com. Check it out. T-shirts, sweatshirts, American made, American manufactured. Really good quality, soft, rugged, hoodies, sweatpants, all of it. American-Giant.com. American-Giant.com. The slogan for American Giant that we created is American Giant Clothing.
Champion. Can't fuck with this shit, yo.
My fantasy team lost tonight, by the way.
By the way, do you want me to stay up here?
Stay up here, yeah. Who else got any
won't
other
feel bad
questions
if you
in
don't
general about Raging Bull,
Money
about
right
The
there.
Wire?
Money right there.
How do you feel like this movie would play if it was released today to modern audiences in general?
That's a good question. I mean, I'll let you could answer it, Paul. And I mean, if this movie came out
today.
now, imagine this movie comes out now, and it's 2 hours and something minutes long, and it's not
Holds
a
up.
cutty. It's
Holds
not a
up.
cutty.
Masterpiece.
Oh yeah. But
Best
imagine if
picture.
it came out now for the first time.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think.
This
'cause
shit would be straight to video.
No, I was thinking that.
Yo,
first.
if it came out now,
Couldn't. It's
yo,
too-
movies come out like this. Go
I
ahead,
know.
you say what you said.
Well,
and
because
we're gonna
it's-
debate.
It's beyond that good. It's beyond like, yeah, there's some wonderful, interesting little indie type black and white movies that come out. Although that one that won Best Picture, that silent movie a couple years ago that I really wasn't a fan of. You know, the black and white. The Artist.
We actually have the director, Philippe, come in. You weren't a fan of, you could talk to, no. Was his name Philippe? He feels like his name, remember that fucking guy during the Oscars? He was like, Philippe, every
But anyway.
fucking show, like the Golden Globes. Sit the fuck down. Let me see your paperwork, you.
Word.
What happened? happened to that movie?
Well, but I just think it's such a masterpiece. It's so good. It would still rise above, whatever's out today, the Star Wars. I mean, people would still find it, and it would become like the King's Speech a couple of years ago.
Right.
It was that good. It became a blockbuster,
The reality of it, when the movie actually did come out, it wasn't a financial success.
It wasn't?
No. No,
Today,
it was 1980.
Now I think it would be bigger then.
It got bigger, but financially it wasn't. De Niro won Best Actor.
Wow.
But again, Ordinary People beat it. I mean, the fact that it was nominated shows that the climate was different. But imagine in this day and age, this movie comes out in this politically correct climate, and you have your star physically abusing his wife and all that stuff. It wouldn't be. Imagine the fucking response. Imagine the response from the politically correct Williamsburg crowd. Not to say that it should be any different, because the abuse in the movie, like I said, once it gets to the physical abuse on the wife, it becomes like, oh shit, this isn't just fucking some crazy guy. This is like it takes a step in the other direction. But the film lasted the test of time. Like he says in the movie, "You never got me down, Ray." Like it ages like fucking fine wine. The beauty of it, the black and white of it, the performance of it ages. So I don't know. I mean, I just don't think that. How would you get this movie made now? It wouldn't be able to get made. You wouldn't be able to shut down production. Who would be an actor and a director tandem that would be like that could afford the comforts of making a movie for a year and a half? I just don't see it happen. I mean, and there's so many great things. It's just a different kind of movie. In 2 hours and 20 minutes, if nothing's blowing up, the theater's gonna be like, nah, you gotta cut that. And it's in black and white? The fuck? 2 hours and 20 minutes, something's gotta blow up or somebody's gotta go to the moon. Something. Or there's gotta be like a loaf shot. Something fucking magnificent's gotta happen.
That might happen if it was out today. It may have a tougher time being made. It definitely was a magical time. Every frame was almost like a magic trick. I was watching it tonight. I said, "This is beyond art." It's just
beyond it. The thing that trips me out, and we could take more questions. The thing that trips me out about Raging Bull, and obviously I've watched it and all that stuff, and with the DVDs and the laser discs. And now even on the computers, you could look at it frame by frame and all this shit. And I know it's really because the film itself is shot pretty basic outside of the boxing ring. But some of those shots in the ring, the camera revolves 360 and then it pans up. There's so much happening and you don't feel any of the cuts. And of course, Scorsese was in sync with his editor, Thelma Schoonmaker, and they were that was another relationship that was thriving. It wasn't just De Niro and Scorsese. It was Thelma and Scorsese. That was like something that they were in their fucking pocket. So, I mean, and there's other great films. There's plenty of other great films to celebrate.
As a side note, Mr. Scorsese told me about going to Woodstock, where he was an editor with Thelma on it, right? I think he was her assistant or something.
Yeah.
The movie Woodstock, the old rock and roll. And he was talking about being backstage with her and in the rain, and they couldn't get to their car for 3 days because the traffic jam. And he hung out backstage with Hendrix.
Oh shit! Claudia took me to go see. Why would you take a 10-year-old to go see Raging Bull, Claudia? Why?
Because I was bored.
Yeah, no, I know.
I wanted to see what would happen. Michael, did you know that Natasha's mother, that's my stepdaughter, was going out with Martin Scorsese when they did Woodstock and all that shit?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
That's not a question, Claudia. Nothing.
That was a question.
Statement.
I did know that. Yes, I did know.
Okay.
I grilled her too.
Okay. Oh, she's going to be at Christmas, so.
Oh, good. Okay. But what'd you get, Dad? No, I'm just.
Some more.
I'm gonna take 2 more questions and then we're gonna shut it down, and I'm gonna go find out why my fantasy team lost. It's fucked up. I lost. That fantasy football. It's like fucking drugs. It's terrible.
Yeah, I feel for you.
It's bullshit.
It's very.
I love it. I have a love-hate relationship with it. What's the question, my friend?
Sad, very sad.
I'm on G Moody's favorite drink over there, so hopefully this isn't a stupid question, but you've talked about how great Raging Bull is. I just want to know how has it affected you as an actor or influenced you as an actor? Like, I don't know, you were 10 years old when you saw it. Did you know then you wanted to be an actor, or like later on when you knew, how did it affect you?
That's a good question. I didn't know I wanted to be an actor. Like when I remember just, first of all, I had been in love with Rocky, and Rocky 2, I believe, came out around the same period of this. So I had loved, that was why I believe my sister took me to the movie. And also she's probably babysitting, she wanted to see it. And I remember seeing the movie. I mean, imagine seeing this as a 10-year-old in a theater, not on a DVD where you could escape and go to the bathroom, like as a movie-going experience, when movie-going experiences were movie-going experiences. It was like the whole day was scheduled around going to the movies. I just remember enjoying it on an emotional level, not understanding it at all. As far as personally, to be totally honest, I feel like, and one of the people that I talked to on this podcast that we're doing tomorrow, I was talking like why men look at this film. It's not like it's the Lone Ranger. It's not Batman. And I don't think we put this Jake LaMotta character on a pedestal, but I have to believe to a certain extent that men are going to view this film differently and view this Jake LaMotta character different than a woman. And to answer your question, I was like, in asking, like, why am I still talking about this movie? Why is it something that means so much to me? And more so than it inspired me as an actor, because I think that every actor watches this movie and drools with just, adoration and hopes, dreams, and whimsical, things like you just wish you could have the part working with and that great opportunity. But the thing about the character, his sort of self-sabotaging, his jealousy, his insecurities, in a weird way, I related to that more and before I really even knew what De Niro was doing. That's not necessarily a good thing, but it's the reality of it. And I think that's why men, while we respond to this movie differently than women, it's because we don't necessarily we're not admiring the Jake LaMotta character, but we can relate to it. You can relate to that fucking bottom bear, sort of jealousy and that rawness and that insecurity. I think on your whether you want to admit it, but on your worst day, your best day, when you maybe it's just to yourself when you're laying on a pillow, every man has had those kinds of feelings, and I think that's what I related to more, in a strange way, and that's what I think is I think for me titillating to explore. I said titillating. Is that the right way to say it?
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
Alluring,
Learning.
No, but the fact that I don't think I know for sure I never got a diploma in high school. I don't think because I owed books. At Martin Luther King High School, you had to hand in your books. And I remember somehow I got into some fucking flunky college, and they were like, we're not going to give you the diploma unless you pay the $63 for your books. And I wasn't going to go back to the fucking school. They might fucking arrest me for something. Who the fuck knows? This is 98. I mean, I was on the line. Anything could have happened. So the fact that I said titillating is just.
It's a big thing.
It's big.
It's an intellectual expression.
You're wearing glasses. I'm saying titillating. We've grown since that fucking set, that True Romance set. So that to answer your question. But as an actor, there's no actor, director who's ever seen that movie or actress and not admired it. It might not be as their favorite thing, but there's no actor that's not that's it. When you talk about method acting, when you talk about a performance by a male, that's it. When you talk about camera movement, direction, that's it. It might not be your favorite thing. You might, go different comedy, but you're gonna go through that phase of look at fucking De Niro. And I'll say this, I've worked with Robert De Niro twice. I've had dinner with him a couple of times and shit, and I've never mentioned Raging Bull to him. I knew better. Because he's fucking Robert De Niro, he doesn't want to hear this shit. But I was on a plane with him one time, and he happened to be sitting next to me, and I swear to God, I was like, you know, he was talking my fucking ear off to me. I'm on a plane, I'm doing this movie called Navy Diver. Men of Honor. It was the first title was Navy Diver. We're shooting the movie, and
in first class, you're sitting together.
I'll tell you what happened. De
I wanna
Niro
hear
finished
everything.
like at 6 that night. We were gonna go all night. They got him out so he could catch the last flight. So everything was scheduled. So boom, De Niro wraps. We shoot until 3:30 in the morning. I catch the first flight in the morning, which is like 6. I go from the set with my bags to the airport. And all I want to do is plane take off. I'm in first class. Plane take off. I want to go to sleep. I've literally been up all night shooting a scene in the water. It's just like I just want the plane to take off. And I'm like, it's a small first class, but it's first class. And I'm just take this fucking thing off. I want to go to sleep. And I want to get back to New York. And as the plane is, the gear belting down and they're starting, I see somebody. I'm like, oh shit, that looks like Bob. And I'm like, oh shit, that is Bob. And I had already noticed that no one was sitting next to me. So I was like, I'm in first class and I got 2 seats. This is gonna be a great flight. And I'm like, my adrenaline, I'm 29. Like my adrenaline is like, oh fuck, De Niro's gonna come sit next to me and I had already been working with him the night before. So he sits down next to me, hey Mike, and he would greet me. I swear to God, I'm not bullshitting. You're probably like, this is bullshit. But he would greet me with like a little kiss on the cheek.
Wow.
So I'm just like, the fact that that's happening, you talk about like
You never
Scorsese's.
told me that.
Yo, I'm tripping the fuck out.
Wow.
So I'm sitting next to De Niro the whole time, and I swear I'm saying to myself, don't fucking talk to him. Don't say fucking Jake LaMotta. Don't say Raging Bull. Don't mention Goodfellas. Don't Travis. No, he would have fucking, it would have been the beginning of the end. He doesn't want to talk about that shit.
doesn't?
Imagine being up.
So what did he talk to you
missed
about?
his flight. So I'm reading Vibe magazine.
You read something sitting next to him?
I have my magazines. I'm so freaked out that he's talking to me. And all he wants to do, Vibe magazine is a magazine in the 90s, it was like a hip hop magazine. There's girls in, and I say this with all due respect. All he wanted to talk to me about, who's that girl? Who's that girl? And I'm like, he's like, you know her? I'm like, I don't fucking, she's in a Clairol ad, but I don't know who the fuck this is. In my head, I'm saying this. So then I get off the plane. So this goes on. He's totally sweet. I'm about to have my first son. He's talking to me about being a parent and blah, blah, blah. And it's just very sort of casual, but he's talking. I want to go to sleep. I'm like, shut the fuck up, Bob, will you? Just shut the fuck up. I want to go to sleep. Enough already. Now I'm reading Sports Illustrated. I don't know who she is. Serena somebody? I don't know. Just fucking stop. In my head I'm saying this, but I'm like a puppy dog.
He's really talking to you
We're
a lot.
bullshitting, but nice, sweet. I want to do De Niro Festival. And you get people to show up, you could come in any fucking costume you want, and then my dream is to get little kids to do the Joe Pesci, De Niro stuff. You fuck my wife, but have 9-year-olds do it. Imagine that? You get some 9-year-old kid. I'm gonna ask you, answer all the right questions. You're not gonna answer the right way. I think it would be great. So then we get off the plane. He has one garment bag. And as soon as we get off the plane, the person who is supposed to be there for him isn't there. So now I'm like, I said to him, I'll walk you, Bob, I got you. Because I'm gonna protect my fucking guy. I love this fucking guy. It's like Dr. J, Muhammad Ali, fucking Tony Manero, Robert De Niro. I'm like, I get his bag. He's not that big. We're walking through the airport. I'm like, we're gonna find him, don't worry, and we're walking through, and I'm I'm gonna shield everybody from Robert De Niro. I don't want anyone fucking with him, because I know he doesn't want to be fucked with. And the only people that they want to talk to through the airport is me. No one recognized Robert De Niro one time.
Wow.
That's the magic of him, because in real life, he sort of disappears. All right, this can be the last question, then we're gonna shut it down.
Well, first of all, this experience, meeting Michael Rapaport, thanks to my friend Jordan, the producer, told me to come out. I'm going to tell the story you just told about De Niro, about while standing there watching you do De Niro as Michael Rapaport. So that was pretty dope, so thanks.
Oh, shit, thank you, man.
But based on the movie, this is the first time I ever saw it, first time watching it. So one thing that stands out is that movies a lot of times nowadays, or even TV shows, they really hit you over the head with here is the point. Here's where you're supposed to pay attention. Here's where the music cues up. You know what I'm saying? And in that movie, if you watch it, there's just shit happens.
Right.
And you kind of are like, why? Like, what is going on? You're just watching it, trying to figure out this character. So if you were showing it to someone for the first time, what would, like, do you think some of that now, like for a kid who's 15, who everything has been babied for them, explaining, you know, themes, when they're supposed to be upset, when they're supposed to be scared, do you think that's more powerful, or now that kids would just totally miss it?
I think they'd miss it. The kids would miss it today, but I still think a little bit more grown-up, mature audience would still consider it a masterpiece.
You know what's interesting? Because my kids have heard me talk about that movie, and then a couple of years ago I was watching, or it was on TV, and we were like flipping through, and a couple of scenes were on, and I remember my kids, they were probably like 11 and 13. They got it. The same way I got it. Like, they were asking me questions. Well, why is he doing this? Is that real? Is he real? Did he really? You know, but there was something that drew them in about it. And that's what I think it was about me. Like, they didn't.
Well, they're different. The sons of an actor and
that's
a writer.
True.
You know.
That's true. But I could tell there was something. I think again, like it's more that movie. It's because there's not big plot points. Nothing truly happens. You know, like, I mean, there things happen, but it's more of a feeling. Like, it's like a feeling, like, more than anything. I think he created a mood, those quiet moments, you know, the looks, the subtle slow motion. You're creating this mood, this tension, this neuroses, you know, that slow motion that he was doing. It's creating this, you know, it influenced people, and you see Scorsese's influences like, you know, Elia Kazan, and, you know, I could tell you, I'm probably the only person who has, because this is just where I'm at in my life, who has the Raging Bull Laserdisc. And the Laserdisc, for some reason, when it was put on DVD, the extra shit wasn't put on the DVD. And, you know, like, I learned from the Laserdisc, you know, if you look at On the Waterfront, when Marlon Brando was on the roof with, what's her name, Eva Marie Saint? Mm-hmm. Is that her name, Claudia?
Yes.
You know, and they're up there with the pigeons and the fence.
Yeah.
That's where he got the idea for when he meets
When he puts
Vicky.
his fingers through the thing.
That's where he got, he wanted that. Like, yes. I mean, so you feel other people's influence, and it all just, but he what's not stealing, he made it his own.
Of course.
I don't know what else to say. I think this has been a great podcast. I appreciate you coming up here. I like when can you just put your glasses on, because it's hard to. It's better for everybody. See, yeah. No, but I appreciate you guys coming. You know, I'm glad you got to see the film. You know, me and G Monetti. Again, G, pipe down. It's my fucking show, because you're just chiming in.
Taking a break. Watching you do your thing.
But I appreciate everybody coming. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Nice
and
turnout.
you know, you know, if you guys want, not the friends of mine who I know by first name basis, we do have soft ass I Am Rapaport podcast T-shirts for the fans and people I'm not on a first name basis with. And thanks for coming, you guys. You can turn on the music, Miles.